Clinton Mayor Scott Maddasion with us this morning on our program. Thanks for coming in today, Mayor. Let's start things off. Let's talk about coming up. Kind of ramble around a number of topics, but let's talk about the 9/11 Memorial Service because we want to talk about that. Maybe we'll get it mentioned too again before it's over. It's kind of a city thing, but a number of different groups, organizations are involved with this. Not sure who all plans it, who's in charge, but big service coming up on Saturday. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, how that's all getting organized.
Yeah, the Trees Forever folks have had a huge part in organizing that, and they've brought in several departments and different folks from throughout the city to plan this. It's crazy that we're hitting the 20-year mark of 9/11, and obviously it's still in our minds, still in our hearts, and we still want to make sure that we're memorializing all those folks that gave their lives to help other folks that were inside the World Trade Center. But it's going to start at 8:30 on Saturday morning. There's going to be parking at Eagle Heights, and there's going to be a bus that will bus people back and forth because there's really not enough parking for people right at the memorial. So plan on going a little early, get to Eagle Heights, get on that shuttle, get over there, and then 8:30 they're going to start the ceremony. And I know there'll be a lot of good things in that. I think Andy Sokolovich is the MC for that, and he does an outstanding job. So.
Richard, this event is, and I think you even mentioned in one of the notes, it's held here in Clinton, but anybody can come, any town. Just if you're out in the area, says that maybe your community is not holding something specific, and you want to come for this event. It's not just Clinton folks who are eligible to come, as it were, and it's open to the public, anybody from anywhere. Right.
Yeah, anybody's welcome. Anybody that wants to pay tribute to the folks that were involved in that. Terrible thing on 20 years ago. But yeah, it's gonna be a great memorial. I'm really happy that they're doing it, and I'll be a small part of the event, which is awesome. I'm glad. I'm thankful they asked me to be that, and it's weird that you think about 9/11. I remember exactly where I was at that moment. When all that stuff happened, and it's like it was yesterday.
Where were you? You mentioned that. Where were you?
I was a junior in high school. I walked into my English class, and my teacher was at the desk, and she was crying because the first plane had already hit. And I was in math class before. We didn't have a TV in that, obviously. And we went in there, and then right as we were in class and we sat down, the second plane came in. So I think she had some family in that area or working in the World Trade Center or something like that. And I don't remember what my teacher's name was, but that's exactly where I was.
Interesting. No, a lot of people talk about when certain events happen, they remember where they were at and what they were doing. So, but let's say events. Talk about we mentioned other times housing developments. We talked about there are a number of housing developments underway in the community. It's gotten some notoriety, some attention. New apartments in the west end of town, a couple of residential housing developments. What's new in that area? Because I know, in fact, the governor just announced yesterday, some of the pandemic relief money going to various efforts for housing. What's going on in the city of Clinton? I know maybe not much month to month seems like, but things happen.
Yeah, and I haven't read too much about what the governor put out yesterday. That was on my list for today to dig into. But obviously, if you look at Valley Bluff out by the casino, the apartments that were being built, they're filling up as they're built. Like they're built, they're stamped, they're certified, get their occupancy, and then someone's in it renting. I mean, those are going like hotcakes, and it's nice to see that because again, some people thought, why do we need that? Well, the need is there. You can see that. So we're hoping that they can continue to push through and get a lot more built before winter starts and weather and everything. Zara Heights is back on track. They're going to be, weather permitting, by October 31st. The road is going to be completed and sewer and all that stuff. So hopefully they can start maybe getting a foundation or two in before winter. That would be nice to see. Off Springdale, Riverstone Crossing. If you drive by there, the road is in, the sewer's in. I think they're finishing up a couple things there. I know Mr. Wilford is ready. He's got like 3 foundations that he's ready to put in and start rocking and rolling on, which would be cool. So we'll see some stuff happening there real quickly. What's the other one? I know out in Mill Creek Crossing, Dan Dolan is doing that stuff out there. I think he has 2 or 3 foundations that he's got dug and houses going up there as well. I know that's not a newer development, so to say, but it still has a lot of space to put a lot of houses in.
So demand.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it, and people talk about this, the demand for housing may surprise some people. They don't think that there's, why is there a demand if, population declining and things like that. But people put these things open up. You mentioned people are moving in. Is that a surprise?
It's not a surprise. I think we have a really positive momentum going right now throughout the city, whether it's on the housing side or the quality of life or the business attraction side. I think of 2020, we had, working with the CRDC, had so many business announcements, and we've got more to come this year that are going to come out with businesses that are expanding or coming to the area. So I think we just have a really positive buzz right now. And if you, I talked to Bob Gallard, who's mayor in Bettendorf the other day, and he's like, Clinton's really going well right now, and we had a good conversation about that, and so other people are seeing it as well throughout the area. I just extremely excited. And on the population decline, obviously the census is over a 10-year period. I wish we could pinpoint over the last 2 years or 3 years, did we decline or did we grow? Because they base those numbers off that 10-year period. So I think as we continue to move forward towards the next census in the next 10 years, I think you're going to see some increase in population just because of all the great things we have going on.
And part of this, Mayor, says it's businesses, and the city in the past few years has gotten into some of the working with the residential developments. I guess they're called development agreements.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about those. Those have really become, I guess, something the city has emphasized in the last few years to have when somebody starts a project. Before you took office, we won't get into a history lesson, but something that the city has really emphasized with these developers, whether it's a residential or a business.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, I think it's important because and the city administrator, Matt Brook, has really kind of put an emphasis on the development agreements, because what it does is it puts all the cards on the table from both sides. As the city, here's what we can do if you come in here and you do the development, and then it's also in writing what the developer is going to do. So it's kind of a check and balance for both sides. So that we're working together as a team, we're transparent, we're open, and then we make sure that we're putting our best foot forward on both sides so that we can continue to grow and have some progress into the future. So I just think it's just one of those cool things where we're like, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, and then we execute.
Good thing to have. So then a lot of people think developers come in, they're not fulfilling their promises, but this is something that in a sense, in writing, they're supposed to do this, and this, how many houses or how many things or what their investment's going to be,
right?
What their tax benefits are going to be. It's all spelled out. So in a sense, things are clear when they start.
Right. So the developer knows, the city knows, the citizens can see what's going to happen. And, I hate to use the word, accountable, but it does hold all parties accountable because it's there in black and white, and this is what we're going to do. And then, if we have issues, we can go back to the development agreement and say, hey, nope, we said right here that we were going to do this. So we're going to do it.
You mentioned housing. Says the Wilson building, after a long time, had a big groundbreaking. It's been several months ago. They're working on that building underway. I heard. Have you actually been in it?
I haven't been in it recently. I heard they had a couple floors framed up already at the higher level. So we talked to John Davishofer, who's with Economic Growth Corps. So I'm hoping I can get him back here and he can take me in there and we can do a little bit of a tour, because I know they're making a lot of headway and a lot of progress. So that's exciting as well.
And that downtown housing is something a lot of people are looking at across the country as being the new thing now, even though guys started a few years ago, get that started. Lafayette building, still working on that one? You got anything? Is that still kind of working on? Not
Last
done yet.
The last city council meeting, we approved a letter of support for the workforce housing tax credits to the state for the Lafayette and also for it's slipping my mind, the on the corner of Second Avenue or Second and Bluff.
Oh, the
Cottage Bluff. That's what they're going to call
it. People know it as Mount Pleasant.
Yes.
The spiritualist camp. People know where that is. It has a new name now, but people know where that is.
So we approved, or the council approved, I guess, letters of support for both of them for the workforce housing tax credits. So we're hoping that we get those. I think it's either later this month or beginning October when we're hoping to hear the announcement for that stuff.
I guess we mentioned the demand for this. What's leading to this? Any insights you can give us? Why in the last even few years, we'll say, there's been that demand for this from outside observer to now inside observer?
Yeah.
What's been the catalyst for such a demand, do you think?
I think people finally see what all of us lifelong residents of Clinton see. They see how special this community is, and they see all the great resources and people and everything that we have here. I really believe that. I think that's a huge part of it. But also, we have an extremely aggressive team on the CRDC and the chamber and the city side, and I think they just kind of flipped the switch and took a different approach. Like, why not Clinton? Instead of poor Clinton, we get what we get. Why not Clinton? And we've been aggressive to try to attract people, whether it's housing developments or businesses or anything like that. And, even to the home base Iowa, attracting veterans to the county and things like that. So I think it's a combination of both. I think our aggressive approach, and then money follows money, and then people realize, how great this community is, and we've just seen an uptick because of that.
Too, with all the housing, people have recently, I think it was a couple weeks ago, got their property tax bills, and that typically raises a lot of, I say anger, but questions.
I hope it's not anger.
You got yours at home, and the financial industry a little bit. You probably hear a lot of people talk about, why did my tax bill go up? And they blame the city for that, whether from the city standpoint, those property tax bills went out. Some went up, maybe some didn't. What's this? If people look at that bill, there's a number of different levies included in there. Of course, the school, city, and county are the three biggest ones.
Right.
From the city standpoint, what's the levy? Because that's the drive says the city can't control the assessment that's being taxed.
Right.
But all you can control is the levy. What's the city portion of that property tax bill that people got in the mail?
Yeah, we obviously the residential reassessment happened, so some people's property changed. Well, actually, mostly everybody's property changed. Mine did too. It went up like 11 or 12,000 or something like that. So that obviously impacted taxes a little bit because you pay on 50% of your assessed value. So the city levy for the fiscal year 22 that started July 1st is $15.66. The fiscal year before that, it was $15.69. So we actually went down 3 pennies this cycle. And the 12-year average for the city levy is $15.93. So right now we are below the 12-year average for the city levy. I mean, at one point it was 1671 in FY14. That was the highest that it's been. So we're below the 12-year average by a good margin. We want to continue to maintain that. I know the council is very, very diligent on making sure that we keep that levy as low as possible. I wish I remembered the exact number, but we're the 16th largest city in Iowa, and our city levy is somewhere close to like 100 or something like that. So our city levy, not our total levy, but our city levy is actually pretty competitive across the board as far as where we're at.
You mentioned that levy too, and again, more probably should get Matt Brook to talk about this. Part of this work is also the bonding or the capital improvements. And I think this year, I know Matt has talked about trying to get that started earlier. And I think I don't know if he's had his first meeting yet on that, but talk a little bit about that.
Today, 2 o'clock.
Today is the first meeting.
First meeting. So obviously we have a lot of large projects that are on the shelf. So Matt, I had conversation with Matt, like, let's do a strategy session. Let's before we get into the normal capital improvement process, we need to understand where our points of emphasis are going to be. So he's kind of ran with this, and he had all the department heads give him kind of like a 8 to 10 year plan of what they think projects are going to be in each department. We're going to start today at 2 o'clock with that discussion. And what we want to do is we want the council to start to lay out their priorities. Because that's going to be extremely important as we're moving into the borrowing, what we do, what we don't do in a given year. And I think that's an important piece, because we've done the study for the sports complex, which is a big thing that people want in the community. And that's going to take some planning, because it's not a small amount. And if we're going to need to do that, we're going to need to make sure that the city's finances are set so that we can accomplish that task. Obviously, it would take a referendum, but we need to set ourselves up for success on that side. But there's other projects. The library needs some work, and there's a couple other things, bigger projects that folks have in mind. So really starting this process early, bringing the council and the CIP team together to really discuss where do we want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? What are our priorities? What do we need to focus on? And kind of crafting that so that we have a 5 to 10 year plan as we're going through the capital improvement process through the next few years.
I know one of the emphasis has been to get council meetings available on YouTube and things like this. Is going to get Josh in to put this on live on YouTube, so the public, if they wanted to watch, can they do that this afternoon?
Actually, we should be able to. I guess I just assumed that they're going to do that because all the council meetings we do that now. But it's a public meeting. It's been posted and everything. So yeah, everybody can see. And citizens are welcome to come to the CIP meetings or any meetings, obviously, and voice their opinion. And if they have some projects that they think are important, you can always contact me or contact a department head, your council member. Come to a meeting, because really, the projects that we do throughout the community should be what the citizens want. It's not what the 7 council members want necessarily. It's what the people want.
But you need that input on those issues.
Absolutely.
You like that input? Now you've been in the job now a couple of years. You getting used to the people stopping you on the streets?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm always willing to listen. I don't like when, I know some people get upset on certain things. I don't like when people yell at me, because it's like, all right, let's just have a conversation, But I don't think anybody likes to be yelled at. And no, I'm still returning, phone calls and emails and all that stuff when I get them, because I think that's important. We finally got my voicemail fixed. We had a little issue there I thought I was doing really good. I didn't get any phone calls for a few months. Turns out my voicemail was a little goofy, and now we got it squared away. So I'm getting my calls again, which is good.
You thought nobody liked you anymore.
Yeah, I was like, man, I must be doing an awesome job. Nobody's bothering me. And then we fixed the voicemail, and then we had some issues that we solved. And that's my whole focus is I tell people I'm a problem solver by nature. That's what I like to do. So if we have issues, we want to make sure we fix them within reason, because obviously you can't fix everything, but we can sure try to make sure we're doing the best by every citizen that's here.
Ozzy says you're not involved, you're not on the ballot, but I believe we have five council seats on the ballot for November. So
I think it's probably unprecedented to have five on one ballot.
It goes 4 and 3, I think, but you got the one I guess, from 2 appointments. I asked Lisa the other day, 2 appointments that we're going to be voting on anyway. 1 gets added because it's an appointment. So you have 5 seats. So anybody can still run. You mentioned if they want to get involved.
Yep.
You can't endorse or typically don't endorse anybody, but they're available.
We have 2 at-large council seats, which you can live anywhere in the city limits and run for those. We have Ward 1, 2, and 3 that are all on the ballot. Ward 1, Ward 2 are the appointee ones. And then those, if you win that, you would take over basically right away. I think it's 10 days after it's certified, and then you would fill out the term, and then you'd have to run on the regular cycle at that point. So I think it's probably 2 years.
Typically, something like that.
I think it's 2 years that you would fill those seats for. And then Ward 3 is the normal
So there's
cycle.
a lot of so there's an opportunity there. I mentioned too, if there somebody that maybe doesn't want to be elected. You mentioned the CIP committee. There's a lot of committees, and you're always looking for folks there. So give it.
I need
a plug for that.
I need some historic preservation folks. I think I have 2 spots on the historic preservation committee. And I think I have one on the neighborhood improvement committee. I don't believe I got an application there. And then we have 2 spots on the library board right now. So we're trying to find some folks for that too. I met with the president of the board a few weeks back and kind of talked about we're trying to find some diversity on the board. And some new folks, maybe some younger folks that are into reading or just library in general or things like that. So we're really trying to kind of put our feelers out and attract some new folks to that board so that we can get some fresh ideas as we're moving through and with that. So
and they can get all that information, put their name in through the website.
Yep.
I think those are applications or they actually they have to actually kind of volunteer themselves.
Correct.
Even if you ask them or try to recruit some folks or try to find some folks, they still need to put their name officially in the mix then. So
and there's an application on the website. Sometimes it's a little difficult to find. So if you are interested, you could reach out to me. Send me an email. My email is easy to find. Send an email to Lisa, the city clerk. Either one of us can get you the application if you're looking for it. So.
Oh, you predict what's coming up the next few months? You got anything you can hint about yet?
Yeah.
What is that? Hint. Give us a hint.
My big hint, October 30th is going to be trick-or-treating. So I know for the past, we've always done it on Halloween. We've always done it on the day of Halloween. But I thought since Halloween was on a Sunday, we'd do it the Saturday night before so that parents weren't getting kids ready to roll and having to go to bed and get ready for school the next day. So I know a couple people are happy. Some people are a little upset about that. But that was my thinking on that. And I think it's going to go over well to have it on a night that, parents can kind of just let their kids enjoy and they don't have to try to get them to bed on a sugar high. So hopefully we'll roll through good, but 6 to 8, October 30th will be trick or treat this year.
What about cities? Anything that we should look for the council to address here in the next month or 2 or 3?
Not really. I don't think there's a lot of big things coming up. I'm hoping that we can get this development agreement signed and announce the business at the rail park hopefully in the next 4 weeks. Hopefully sooner than that. We are trying to get some infrastructure money from the federal government for Manufacturing Drive and Bluff. We submitted for the RAISE grant again, scheduled to go to D.C. In October and meet with our folks out there. It's been a long time since Clinton's gone to D.C., so this will give us an opportunity to kind of show our face out there and try to get some funds to get those roads done.
Is that going to be a community trip? I know before, is it with a big big group of community folks, or is it going to be more smaller?
This one's going to be
city chamber CRDC type.
This one is going to be city only. The reasoning is they're still a little leery on how many people can go into the Capitol and things out in DC. So we had to keep our group extremely small. They didn't want a large group going in to the meetings and things like that. So it'll be a small group. I think there'll probably only be 3 of us, maybe 4 at the moment, and we'll go out there and we'll meet with Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst, and then Representative Miller Meeks. So hopefully we can make some headway and get some funds that way.
And again, a lot of the deals with grants, and sometimes we say to announce it on your timeline, but it's their timeline.
Yeah, November 22nd, I think, is they're announcing the RAISE grant for the road infrastructure project. So we've got a little bit of time waiting for that. The CAT grant that we applied for our marina project, we're hoping, I thought that was the end of September that they're announcing that one. Sometimes I get my dates mixed up, but that one should be soon. So hopefully we'll get some funds there as well.
Well, thanks for coming today, Mayor. Any last comments? Did we forget anything?
No, but glad to have you back.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thanks. Anything else?
Nope. Have a great day.
You bet.
You're listening to AM 1340 KROS, Clinton, Iowa.